I'll be right back. I told y'all them girls was not gonna give me no damn wrinkles. Yes, ma'am. We got to get into some things. Let's go get them. Hey, Gabby, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm really kind of shook that I'm talking to you right now. So, how first things first, we're gonna let you go ahead and introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm Gaybrielle Dixon. A lot of people know me from the Dancing Dolls. Most people know me as Gabby. I served on the Dancing Dolls from 16 year to 19 year. 18 year, I served as the Fabulous Dancing Dolls SU captain, and I graduated in December. So here,
Congratulations.
thank you so much.
So, prior to you being a dancing doll, what other experience did you have? Dance experience.
Dance experience. I started dancing when I was 4 years old,
Okay.
and I did ballet, tap, jazz, all of the above. You name it, I did it. Gymnastics, and so as time went on, I was really good at ballet. I really stuck to ballet, and around 12 or 13, I did the chocolate nutcracker for a few years, and so it really helped my dance ability to really shoot through the roof. My technique and everything got better, and as time went on, and I moved on through my life, I went to many dance schools. I danced at weddings. I danced at different occasions people asked me to dance at. And so that really helped me with my dancing experience, my confidence in dancing, my attitude in dancing. And then I moved to Louisiana, tried out for the dolls, and
So, what made you want to be a dancing doll?
oh, well, here's the story on the Dancing Dolls. So I'm from Florida,
Right.
and so a lot of people don't really know about many of the HBCUs because Florida, especially Orlando, it's like it's a diverse area. So you have
Right.
people there. You don't really hear about the HBCUs and stuff like that. So I didn't know
Right.
about Southern University. I knew about FAMU and BCU, and I went to those classics. So I knew about the 14 karat gold dancers and different things like that. So when I moved to Louisiana, I moved to Monroe. I had no clue who the dolls were.
Right.
My plan was to go back to Florida for college. And so I went to Neville High School, and someone saw me, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you look like you could be a doll." And I'm like, "A doll?" What is a doll?
Right.
And so after that, they're like, you don't know? And so I looked them up, and the first video that popped up was a video of Kayla. And so I'm looking, and I'm like, these girls are gorgeous.
Yes.
I want to be that girl because I know I'm gorgeous.
Right.
And so
Exactly.
I,
Self confidence.
I want to be that girl. And so after that, I told my parents, I want to go to Southern University. I want to audition for the Fabulous Dancing Dolls. And so that was the goal from there on out. That's what I wanted to do. And so I moved to Baton Rouge, and I didn't know that the auditions happened right after school ended. Yep. So I actually missed the auditions my freshman year. I didn't get to audition because I didn't know. I thought it was during school. Right. My first time, I have no clue how being on a college team works, anything like that. So I missed it. And that year I auditioned for the Golden Blues, and I made it to the top 20. And then after that, I did not make the team. But of course, I did not let that stop me. I knew what I came to Southern to be. Right. And so I kept working. I stayed in the gym. And I just kept it on my mind, manifesting. This is what I want to do. This is who I want to be. And 16 year, my sophomore year, right right when I packed up my room my freshman year, and auditions actually happened the last day they were allowing everybody to move all their stuff off of campus. So my thing is, I didn't tell nobody I was auditioning. The only people that knew were my parents and my closest family members and my roommate. Right. And they knew to keep quiet because that's just the type of person I am. I don't tell everybody everything. I just move in silence until something happens. And so I was quiet and I kept working. I went to auditions, and at the time, Danielle Linkford knew because she was training me. Right. And so after that, I went to the audition. I didn't answer my phone. Nobody knew where I was. And so next thing you know, I get a call. That moment, we're in the band hall, and so they're calling the last few numbers, and after they called the numbers for the team members, I was the first number called after them. I walked into the band hall, and I'm like, what does this mean? And Mr. Hammer was like, you're a fabulous dancing doll. I dropped on my knees, and I had tears just falling down my face, and I'm just hugging him, and I ran to Tara. Didn't know none of them. I'm just hugging everybody. And I'm hugging my new craft sisters, and I'm just looking at the team like, oh my gosh. And at the time, Danielle, she had trained me the day before. She had worked with me, and she did my hair the day before auditions. I didn't know her. Right. Didn't know she was going to be my captain. Right. None of that. I'm in her apartment. She's curling my hair, and she's just telling me, about dolls and giving me some advice. And little do I know, this is about to be my captain. Right. And that moment, I'm hugging her, and at that moment, I just fulfilled that all the reasons why I wanted to come to Southern and be a dancing doll. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. So can you describe your freshman year as a doll? Yeah.
My freshman year.
Well, not freshman year, but your first year as a doll.
As a doll, yeah. Oh, it was filled with so much. It was filled with heartache. It was filled with joy, everything. But every aspect that came along with my freshman year was so beneficial to me. Right. Because those hard moments helped me to become the strong person that I am. Right. And a lot of people are like, I don't want to go through a crabbing experience. But you think that in the moment. Right. In the moment, it's like, no, I don't want to do this. I can't. I called my mom so many times, and my dad, I'm going to quit tomorrow. I'm like, I called him, I'm quitting. I'm not doing this anymore. This will be my last day. They're like, no, we got you to Southern, and you're going to stick to it. Right. And so, I had to really pray and ask God, really help me to be that strong person, because I have craft sisters, and I've always been that person. I want to be strong for others. Right. And I didn't want to be weak in that moment. And so my freshman year was filled with so much, and I learned a lot. And Danielle, she was a tough captain. She was a tough cookie, but in that moment, I thought she was mean. I thought she was the worst person I ever met in my life. But I really appreciated her after my freshman year, because those different things that she taught us and that I learned during that experience, you see in your everyday life now. And now things can't stop me. Things can't break me down like they would have before, because I experienced it amongst people that cared about me. Mm-hmm. And so I had not even just Danielle, I had a very, very, very close relationship with Maya. Maya and Jordan, we all had different big sisters. They were my big sisters. Maya really helped me to see the woman that I needed to become. Yes. And I looked at her because when I first started to pay attention to dolls, I loved Kayla. Yeah. So Maya in that room was the closest thing to Kayla to me. Exactly. You see her dance, and it was so effortless. It was just beautiful and graceful. And so, different times I would call her. And Jordan, she was more the school type. Gabby, you got your grades good? Yeah, dolls is important, but do you have your grades? And so they both kept me up in those different times. And so my freshman year, I learned a lot in those different aspects. And then, of course, my craft sisters, we were really strong together.
Yes.
You know, without each other, there was different things about each of us that made all of us so strong. And we spent 24/7 together. I mean, they would always come to me in Micah's apartment, and they're crashing either on the couch or on the bed, and we're up till the next day, just talking and figuring out how we're going to go about our time at practice. But all of that just made my freshman year one of the best years on Dolls. And you wouldn't think that,
Yeah, right.
The crab year, you wouldn't think that that's one of your best years, but that's the year that you learn the most about yourself.
Right.
And so that is why I appreciate that year, and it made me who I am.
So what did Danny teach you that really stuck with you?
So it wasn't so much of things that she said.
Right.
It was things that she did. She was very tough.
Right.
It was almost like at the moment, I don't care. But I knew that wasn't where she was coming from. But it just showed you, okay, despite, how people feel, I'm going to push through.
Right.
Even if you say whatever to me, I'm going to push through. I'm going to do what I have to do to become greater than whoever you think I'm supposed to be.
Right.
And so I didn't realize till later that was the tactics, and that's where a lot of what she did came from.
Right.
It seemed in the moment like I don't care. And her whole thing was, Danny could come in the room and not even look at us. You'd be like, okay, hello,
right.
I'm here. I'm your baby. But at that moment, it's just like, it teaches you, I can't worry about that. Right. I still have to be on my A regardless of if you see me or not. So if you like me, if you don't like me, if you see me, if you don't see me, I'm going to still do me, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability.
Exactly.
So that really helped me in what she taught. That's what I really learned the most from Danielle, was the fact that I can not acknowledge you. Right. That doesn't mean I don't care. That doesn't mean that in the moment that you don't think I'm acknowledging you, you still do your best.
Right. Okay. I like that answer. That was cute. I like that. So prior to you getting the captain position, did you ever want to be captain prior to actually getting the position?
So I always seen myself as a leader and as a captain. So I always prepared my mind in, Gabby, what if you do get put in this position? I never talked about it, but I always prepared my mind. So, family members around me, and of course people would be like, oh, I think she would be captain. Of course, everybody's going to throw out their opinions, I think she would be captain. I had my family around me, but I always would just, if it happens, it happens. I'm going to be prepared for it.
Right.
So, I never really knew. I just, in my mind, said, okay, Gabby, if you are, what would you do?
Right. Okay. So, how did you feel once you got the position? Like, what was your feeling? What was your emotion once you got it?
My emotion wasn't like what everybody would expect.
Right.
Everybody would expect you to be excited, falling all over the place, but the captain position happened when the whole announcement was made. To me, it happened at a time period when so much was going on. Right. A lot of things was going on, and so I reacted in happiness, but I also had some sadness with me, because I had to make decisions. Am I going to? Because of course, when you're asked to be captain, you don't have to take the position.
Right.
But in that moment, I had to decide, am I going to do what's best for Gabby, or I'm going to do what's best for everyone else?
Right.
And I had to really sit there and pray, God, if this is what you're giving me, allow me to open this door, walk through it, and do it to the best of my ability, no matter what anybody says around me.
Right.
And I I had to really get to that point where it was like, okay, Gabby, just figure out what you want to do and do it.
Right.
Don't back and don't keep questioning yourself, because that moment when you question yourself, you end up doing what everybody wants you to do.
Right. Exactly.
I had to decide, okay, Gabby, who has your best interest right now? And it was him.
Right.
And so when I realized that, I said, okay, I'm going to open the store and I'm going to go through it. And my initial reaction was, I'm excited, but I'm getting prepared.
Right.
I'm about to fight a battle. And so I really have to put my armor on, because it's go time. And that's what my main response to it was. It was happiness for a second and preparation for the rest of the time.
Right. So during your captain year, did you have any like alumni help you during your process of being captain?
So yes, I did have a lot of alumni help me as far as mentally helping me.
Right.
I had a lot of mentors in that area, because I've always been that type of person to reach out to people who are older than me.
Right.
Because the best thing to me that you can have is wisdom and knowledge and understanding. And who better to go to than those people who have already been there before.
Right. Exactly.
And so I reached out to those people, and Jatara being one of the main people, because being that I had just met her my freshman year of being on the team, I really confided in her a lot, because like I said, I always talk to people who are older than me. Right. She had been in that position before. And so moving to Southern and Louisiana, in that area, I didn't have anybody.
Right.
So I really reached out to her, and from reaching out to her, it opened me up to different other alumni, and I was able to kind of pick their brains.
Right.
And so not only Jatara, but when Miss Akai became sponsor, I really got close with Miss Akai, because they're two different people.
Right.
Jatara is more so the motherly, loving, passive, I'm going to give you the real, but I'm going to be sweet and stuff. So she was that holding,
nurturing,
nurturing for me. But Miss Akai, she was cutthroat. She was hit it where it needed to be hit. And I spent a lot of time with Miss Akai, because she helped me to get to that point where, Gabby, this is what's going to happen, and you just got to figure out how you're going to handle it, and move on.
Exactly.
And she told me just like that. And she would tell me where I was wrong. She would tell me where I needed to improve, and she would go about her day. But she trusted me to know that I could do what I needed to do, because I confided in so many people that had that mindset, and she knew that. And because she knew that I wasn't just out there talking to everybody, and, I accepted those people that had the mindset. She knew that, and so she trusted that. And same with Jatara and other alumni. And so I grew a relationship with a lot of them, because they knew that I wasn't just doing this.
Right.
Just do it. I was doing it because I wanted to better the team. I wanted to better the organization, and I wanted to better myself.
That's good.
Yes.
So, what was your favorite stand song?
I don't really have a
favorite. People love when you do both sides. They love when you do both sides.
I know, but the thing is, I never had a favorite. Music to me in general, I just love, like, anything with let me say this. Okay. Anything with a good beat.
Okay.
Anything with good backbeat. I love what people can't hear.
Right.
And a lot of times that's what I'm gonna dance to. The beat that people, because then when I dance to it, that's when you hear it.
Right. Exactly.
And so that's what I love. That music that's very dynamic. It goes up and down,
and you wouldn't even know it.
You wouldn't know it. And behind the beat, you hear like that boom, boom, boom,
Exactly.
boom.
Yep.
And that's what I like to dance to. So I don't have a favorite song. I just love a song with a good beat, whether it's slow, whether it's fast, whether it's in the middle. If I can add a little flavor to a certain part,
Hmm.
that's what I'm into.
Yes. So, how was it, having Cam and having Ariel as your crabs? Like, what was, I can't ask you, like, what is their experience, but how was your experience with them, basically?
Oh my gosh, those are two of the most amazing girls I ever met in my life. I love those girls to death. And the reason why is because during my captain year, I had so many things thrown at me.
Right.
So much hardship and just I was beat down to a point where sometimes I didn't know what I was gonna do.
Right.
And they really surprisingly, I'm the captain. They're the babies, but it's like they were a rock
Right.
for me. Cameron and Ariel, they coming in, you would think that you would teach your crabs dancing and stuff,
Right.
but they had that.
Right.
All I had to do was help them perfect it, but it was more so me teaching them the person that you need to become.
Right.
I always tell Ariel and Cameron, be strong, be wise, and be smart. Be strong in every situation because you don't know what it's going to take you through.
Right.
Be wise because at the end of the day, you need to have the mindset to be able to get through it, and to be smart in every decision because you have to understand what is for you, what isn't for you, what's good for you, what's bad for you. And I always made sure that I helped them through that aspect. And even the times where I had to get on Cameron and Ariel, they understood, okay, Gabby's doing this because she cares. And that's what I wanted them to understand. But they were two of the best people I could ever meet because we could have practice and I could get on them. And next thing you know, I get home, I hear a knock at my door. It's Cameron and Ariel. And they're in my house, raiding my refrigerator, raiding my closet, in my makeup. And they act like kids with me. Like, those were really my children.
Right.
And so, and I also admire them and I love them so much because within us three,
Mm-hmm.
it was the perfect match because I wasn't the only one going through.
Right.
Cameron coming from a team where everybody knows her from that.
Right.
And then the Dancing Dolls, they compared her. And they beat Cameron down. She can't do this. She wouldn't be able to. But you know what? She was a beast. And she proved everybody wrong. And that is what I love because she showed the resilience.
Right.
And the fact that I can come from that and still show you all. And that's what I always told them. And even Ariel, basically coming from a professional background,
mm-hmm.
to this. And, people said what they wanted to say. And then, being the craft sister of Cameron, Ariel really had to find an identity for herself.
Right.
And those are two of the most talented people that's in the doll room because they have so much light and they have so much knowledge of dance and the strength and the power I wanted them to get because that's what I had to get.
Right.
And I say for the perfect match because we all had to do it, all three of us. And so the conversations that I had with them were always, how you feeling? Get it back up, toughen up, and let's do this. When you get there, you show them who you are.
Right.
Let them figure out the rest. And so that's the relationship that we had. That's what drove our relationship. And that's what has us closer than ever to this day.
Yes, I love that. So how do you guys come up with your uniform concepts? Because, with your year, I think the Bayou Classic, you had the, what did you have? It was like was it Cinderella? I think that's what they call it.
For Battle of the Bands?
No, not for the game.
Oh, Bayou Classic? Yeah, we had the blue, we call it vintage.
Oh, vintage.
And, yes.
Oh, okay.
And so it was the blue with the, pieces at the top.
Right.
But Miss Akai came up with that design. My years prior, I've known it to be the captain who designs the uniform, but me, when Miss Akai came in, it was the perfect relationship because she's the fashionista.
Right.
I like fashion, but I'm not going to sit down and design something. So, I'm like, Miss Akai, you got that. And she would, when she came up with the design, she would come to me and be like, okay, look, I got this. What you think about it? And so she would get my opinion on it. And I'll say, ooh, I like that. All the time, it was always something cute that she came up with. I loved it. And so my mind really wasn't on that. It was really on, okay, field shows and catch-ons and how are we going to do this and how are we going to march into this. So, she was able to take on that.
Everything
and I was
right.
completely fine. I was completely fine with that because her mind is great. When it comes to designing something, she's A1. So she had that.
Right. So what was your favorite uniform?
Oh my gosh, I love traditional.
Oh yeah,
it doesn't get no better than traditional to me. I love traditional, but I would say it's hard because I love a lot of the outfits.
Yes,
and I don't know.
I love the royal blue that y'all wore last year. I forgot what game it was. It was the royal blue. It was a 2-piece.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I love that.
I don't know why the name is slipping me, but I kind of like that one. I'm more of the one piece with nice French cut because I like the body, how it looks, but I would say traditional, and I'm gonna go with our 16 Battle of the Bands Jaguar.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
I love that. I love how it looks on me. I just love it. So I would say I like a lot of them. I don't really have so much of a favorite, but traditional is definitely at the top, and then I would have to go with Battle of the Band 16.
Okay, I like that. So how do you guys pick the uniform of per game? Like say for instance, Jackson is next week. How do you guys pick that actual uniform that you want to wear?
So a lot of the times, first we start off with the weather. Right. Is it going to be hot or is it going to be cold? So if it's cold, of course, long sleeve. If it's hot, sometimes we'll go with a 2-piece or something that doesn't have much of a sleeve or anything like that. Most of the time, the captain would pick. So I was a person, I loved white. Right. I loved white. Yeah. So, whatever I could pick that was white some of the time, I would. And then after that, whatever the team might have said or anything I went in there and saw, or based on the school, say it's a pink game or, something like that, that's basically how it would be picked. Okay. Or, what did we wear last year and what didn't we wear in a long time? Stuff like that.
Okay. So how did you guys come up with the whole bougie entrance? I love the little bougie entrance when y'all come into the game. I love it.
So when I became captain, I had to sit down and really think about, okay, Gabby, what do you want to do? Do you want to do somebody else or do you want to do you? And of course I chose to do me. Right. And I am very prissy and I get bougie, but that's okay. And so I said, okay, I'll put this in type of dance or whatever. And so I was with my mentors and just talking to them and running some ideas by them and different things, and I came up with the entrance. And so actually when I came up with it, I was looking at it and I'm like, okay. And so I wanted to bring in my craft sisters. And so for them to help me a little bit and just to pick their mind. So they helped me perfect it. And so when I introduced it to Datara in April, Datara was like, okay, we'll put it out, Jackson State. But I knew that I wanted to add something to the strut before. Right. And the little step back that I like to do, I said, okay, I asked Datara in April, what do y'all think about this? Because I just want to do this little, okay, you thought, and then keep going. Right. And so they're like, okay, that's you, so introduce it to the team and put it in there how you want to. And I did, and didn't know what people were going to think about it, but after the first game that we did that, someone called me and was like, "Girl, you just
Bad.
almost made me slap somebody."
I loved it.
That's what I was going
Yes, I
for.
loved it. So, you had some great field shows. Like, those were some great field shows. Who really helped you creatively during the process of you creating your field shows?
So the way it worked with my field shows, I've always had a creative and productive mindset because growing up I was so versed in the arts,
Right,
uh, acting, singing, playing the piano. So my mind worked like a production.
right,
And so when I became captain, one thing that Datara and April told me was we want to get back to what dolls used to be about. It was all about the field shows. Now people, it stands, but it originally was all about the field shows. That's what it was supposed to be.
right.
And so that's what they said. This year we want to get back to those fire field shows. So I really thought about it and I had different ideas. I would see things and I would just think about things in my mind like, how would it look from up there
Right,
for people to see this? Visually, what would that look like?
right,
And so the way it works with field shows, everybody will bring in as many counts as the captain will say. So if I say 3 to 4, 8 counts, everybody would bring in their counts. And I will record them and go home and listen to the music, and I would put it together however I saw fit. And I would take out what I thought maybe shouldn't have been in, or I would leave something in, but figure out, okay, how do I want this performed? Do I want it in a ripple? Do I want it all together? Do I want it popcorn? How do I want it performed? And so once I put the dance together, we learn it. And so then I'll start thinking about transitions. How do I want it to look from the crowd's perspective?
right.
As how we perform it on the field. And so that's pretty much what I did. As far as the creativity, that was when I put it together. I just put however it came to my mind, however I saw it. I just wanted people to see what I saw in my mind.
Right.
And so that's how I would design the field shows after I would get everyone's counts. And Miss Akai would take a look at it and be like, okay, yeah, this is it. Okay, yeah, this is it. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Right.
It. And so that's how that would go. And then sometimes we would talk and she'd be like, okay, Gabby, I think it'd be kind of cool if you add this. And so I'm like, okay. And then I'll figure out how to add it and make it so dynamic to where I told myself before the year started, I want to hear in the videos the crowd's reactions.
Yes.
I want to be able to hear, and that's how good these field shows need to be. And I accomplished that. And as a team, we accomplished it.
I love the fact that you guys went back to 2012 and you had the same uniform, you had the same it was just I love that. I love the uniform. I love just how you just went back and you just took something and made it even better. I loved it.
And that was definitely the goal. And what also made it so just beautiful was the fact that you had a team full of
yes.
powerful
yes.
dancers.
Exactly.
Everybody on the team could bust some technique and just dance. And so what makes a field show even more amazing is the fact that we all had fun doing these field shows. Yeah. And that's what I really wanted, because when you want to do a field show, when it's fun to you, when you like it, you perform it the best.
Yes.
When you don't really get into something, you don't put your best foot forward.
Exactly.
Tell with every single field show, it was, you didn't see no mistakes. You didn't see nothing, because everybody enjoyed these field shows. Everybody gave their best counts and everything. And so it made my job easier to have talented girls around me who had great counts. So all I had to do was put it together and design it how I wanted it to go on the field.
Right. So, being that you were the doll that people weren't expecting after Danny, what mindset did you go into going into your captain year? Like, what did you think of any, like, how did you like push through? Like,
It was that's a no-brainer. It was nothing but God.
yeah.
Because at that moment, I became so weak.
Right.
Became so vulnerable because I had so many darts being thrown at me. So many people doubted me. So many people said, to my face, I don't see you as being captain. I got so many names being called. I lost so many friends, but I realized that in that moment, that's when you see God's strength the most.
Yes.
You become vulnerable, and when you allow him to step in. And so those darts that were being thrown at me was hitting him, and it was only bouncing off and going straight back to whoever threw them at me, because he was my shield. He was, when you all saw that unbotheredness, that was him. When you all saw that smile, that was him, because I was weak. And it was a hard time for me because I learned a lot, and I grew from so much in that area, but I had to really sit back. And so I needed somebody to steer and guide me. And it could only be him. And so when I allowed him to do that, I was able to see, okay, this is what it takes to be a leader.
Right.
This is what it takes to be a captain. And honestly, in my opinion, that's when you find out that you are really the leader.
Right.
That you are really the captain, when people start falling off.
Right.
When things start to get bad, because the greatest people go through the most obstacles.
Right.
And I realized then that, okay, you meant for me to be in this position. Because, to be honest, if he didn't mean for me to be in that position, things would not have gone how they did. Right. And every week, we got better and better and better and better. And that's only because I allow him to guide me. Right. And I realized, when you put yourself in the forefront, your vision sees first, and what you're really putting yourself in is last.
Right.
But when you allow him to guide you, your vision only sees last, but he really puts you at the top. And that's what people didn't see. People looked at me and they saw last place because they doubted me. But he saw the top, and that's where he took me. And now everybody sees that. And so it's a beautiful thing, because that's how it happens, And that's why I tell those girls that are being, adversity hits them, don't beat yourself up because you're not getting what you want right now.
Right.
Those that are getting the shine right now, let them have it. It's your time to work at it, because when God puts you up there, you just need to be ready for it.
Exactly.
And that's what I had to come from with that.
That's good. So what would you say is the hardest part about being captain?
The hardest part about being captain, to me, is breaking the norm. Because you're responsible for where that team goes.
Right.
For that season. And so coming after people that, have changed people's mindset,
mm-hmm.
it becomes the norm to them.
Right.
Kayla, she brought this milk. She brought this sexiness. She brought this, just a womanly thing that became the norm to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so Danny came along. People didn't want it because Danny was more of the hard-hitting, feisty,
right.
your face dancer. But then when Danny broke that first norm, Danny's became the norm.
Right. Exactly.
And so then when I came in, everybody was like, oh no, she doesn't have the intensity. She doesn't have the fire. I'm more bougie. I'll give you fierce.
Right.
And so when people started to get it, they was like, oh, hold on.
Exactly.
And then that became, and so it's like you have to decide at that moment, okay, am I going to deal with the fact that right now people aren't going to like me because they're used to something else?
Right.
Even with the team, so many people are used to the next captain being the senior in line.
Right.
That's the norm. And so, it's understandable when people get upset or when people are like, oh no, that's not how it works, because that's the norm to them. But you don't really understand what is, because there is no specific rule to how those things are supposed to happen. It just happens. Right. And so you have to put yourself into the mindset of, okay, things are going to change. and things are they might be different. And so if you accept it, you accept it. If you don't,
You just
because
don't.
you just don't.
Yeah.
And I have people that love me, and I still have people out there that hate me. They're going to hate this. But what can you do about it? You cannot please everybody. And that's what I learned, and I had to learn as captain, okay, until you get yourself where you're strong enough, don't read comments. Don't listen to what a bunch of people say. Because at the end of the day, you don't detour yourself from what you need to be doing.
Right.
Your path is set out for you. And the moment you start listening to everybody, because here's how it works. I'm doing me, right? I see your comment, and it says, "Oh, I think that Gabby should be doing this."
Right.
And then I change because you said it. That's what you want.
Right.
But then I do that, and then another person's like, "I don't like that. He should have did that." And so then I change. But then you never know who really Gabby is.
Right.
Because I'm changing for everybody. And so I had to realize that eventually I'm going to have that team, those people that are stuck on what I do. And that's all that matters. Yeah. And so that is the biggest thing to me of being a captain, because you're responsible of breaking the norm in people's minds, even your team and the people around you.
Exactly. So how did you... I'll ask this. What did you learn about yourself during your captain year?
I learned that I'm stronger than what I thought I was. I learned that I can handle things that I never thought that I could handle.
Right.
Because that spot right there, people underestimate it. People really underestimate it, especially with dolls, because I think people get to a point where they think it's all about dance.
Right.
See, when you're a captain, when you're a leader, it's more than that. It's the mindset.
Right.
Dance is definitely majority, you have to know how to dance, but because when they're picking captain, because the team, you have to know how to dance anyways, why would that be a choice?
Right. Exactly.
So, you have to come with more than just that. And so, with that, I would say with that, I just learned being in that position, how to get to a point where I was seeing everything that I needed to do and everything that I needed to be and going about it in that direction, because there were so many aspects of being that.
Right. So how did you overcome all of the negativity that was thrown at you during your year as captain?
How did I overcome it? I have to keep going back to God.
Yeah.
Because it was only him, it wasn't easy.
I know.
At all. It wasn't easy, I lost people from my life that I really thought was going to be there for a lifetime. I had people that, didn't even want to talk to me just because they're friend, or, didn't want to see me because they were only seeing me through somebody else's vision of me.
Right.
And so I had to really lean and depend on him. And I had to really understand that if you're my friend, that's all that matters.
Right.
And the ones that really care for me, they're going to come around and they're going to be here for me. And so that's where I learned, how to just block out that negativity. Because like I said again, it was not easy coming in that room and just having to have a smile. Sometimes you don't even want to get out your bed, and my mom had to always tell me, do not sit in your sorrow.
Right.
Do not stay there. Have your moment and do what you got to do.
Keep going.
You have to be strong in these moments, because people are going to be negative. You're going to get that for the rest of your life. If you think dolls is the only place that you're going to get that, you're sadly mistaken, and you
Right.
know nothing.
Right.
So I really had to get to that point where it's just like, okay, she said that, he said that. They used to tell me, water off a duck's back and keep it moving.
Right.
And so that's what I really had to learn, because at the end of the day, those same people that do you wrong are going to be those same people that see what they did to you. And I strongly believe in you reap what you sow.
Right.
What goes around comes around. And that moment that I chose to just block it out, that's when he started to elevate me. Because when you choose to stay right there and listen to the negativity, guess what? You're not going anywhere. You're going to stay right there.
Exactly.
But when you block that out and you say, look, I know the plans that you have for me.
You just keep elevating.
Right. Elevate.
Right.
And that's what happened. And when I elevated, it didn't matter who was speaking negative about me, because you're here.
Right. You're still at the same level.
You're still here.
Right.
I'm here. It doesn't matter what you say about me anymore, because when I was on that level with you, it mattered to me because I'm on the level with you. Right. And so you saying these negative things to me is hurting me. But I had to choose. He said, okay, you can dismiss all of that when you leave that level.
Right.
But in order to leave that level, you have to block that out. You have to want to be on a different level. And that's when I learned how to handle the different things that were happening around me, because I didn't stay on the same level for long.
Right. Okay, so let me ask you this question. What was your emotion, being captain in 2018, and then, you're doing well, you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, and then the next year, you're not captain. What was your emotion about that? Like, how did you feel?
I was disappointed. Because you do go from the moment where you think, what did I do wrong?
Right.
What you watched me face every obstacle. You watched me overcome every obstacle. You watched me blossom. You watched me from the hated Gabby to the loved Gabby. You've seen that. And so, when Mr. Taylor had made the announcement, in that moment in my mind, I was just so crushed.
Right.
And so I went home and, I cried and I prayed, and I'm just like, okay, God, I want to give up, because you told me that, you had a plan for me. And I thought that this was your plan. And so I was stuck. Like, I was questioning every possible thing.
Right.
And I have such a praying family and a God-fearing family and God-fearing people around me. I had my mentors and my family praying and calling me and, are you okay? And it didn't last long, because I decided, I said, you know what? 18 year, I was the captain with leadership qualities.
Right.
19 year, I'm going to be a leader. Yep. Because a leader can be anywhere.
Exactly.
A leader can be in the back. A leader can be to the side. A true leader can be anywhere and maintain their integrity. And I said, that's the person I'm going to be, because in that moment, I realized, okay, last year I proved to you that you could be captain.
Right.
This year I'm going to prove to you that you can be a leader. And that moment where I realized that was his plan for me, all my blessings just started to come. Right. That year turned out, 19 year turned out to be an amazing year for me. I got so many blessings and opportunities.
Yes.
I didn't even think were going to happen for me.
Right.
And so that wasn't even my mindset. It went better than what I thought it was going to go for me before I found out, that I wasn't going to be captain. And so I was able to, in that position, smile through my pain.
Right.
And smile through the tears, because at the end of the day, I knew the plan that he had for me. And as I kept going, it was more evident, okay, this is what you're doing for me.
Because truly a lot of girls would be like, okay, I'm not captain anymore, I'm quitting. And I'm really happy that you didn't quit. I'm very happy.
That I do.
I'm very happy that you didn't quit, because at the same time, that really showed another person that you probably don't even know that
Right.
it's okay.
Exactly. And that's one thing that one of my mentors told me. She said, Gabby, you have been such a light to younger girls.
Yes.
And do you want to give them that impression that it's okay to leave when you don't get what you want? And so I had to sit there, and I have a younger sister,
Right.
and she's up to me. And I don't ever want her to feel like when you don't get a certain position, you have to leave
Right.
to prove a point, or you have to quit, because how do you grow from that?
Right.
You know, it's going to be hard, but that's when you are tested, and that's when you are tried, and that shows your leadership the most, when you decide, what am I going to do when adversity hits and I'm down? Because
Right.
everybody thought Gabby is just, oh, she probably want to fight them.
Right.
But no, in fact, the opposite. I could only be happy because those people that doubted me had to look and see what blessings he had for me.
Right.
And see, he always said, I'll make your enemies your footstool.
Right.
And those same people I was on top of, and he showed them, everyone, the blessings that he had for me. And that was the greatest thing for me this 19 year. The fact that even after everybody thought I was kicked down, everybody saw me elevate. Everybody
Right.
saw me. And so that was the most beautiful thing about not getting the captain position this year.
That's good. So let's talk about the Lizzo. How did you get the lead role for that video?
So what happened was we didn't know that there was going to be a music video happening that we were going to be in.
Right.
And so one day, Miss Akai was just like, hey, I want everybody to come to practice, make up, look nice, and, dress presentable. And so we were practicing, and at the time, we didn't know that it was the producer and the director.
Right.
And they walked into the room with Miss Akai, and they're just looking at us. And so we still don't know who they are. And so after that, they left. And so the end of practice, they come back in. Well, Miss Akai came back in, and she said, she was very excited to tell us that we were going to be in Lizzo's music video. And so she was like, they are picking the lead role out of you all, and they're only using the dolls, but you all have to audition. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, Gabby, this is what you want to do in life anyways. You want to act. And so, what are you going to do? I didn't say anything, but in my mind was going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It was going so crazy. And like I said from the beginning, I don't tell people the moves I'm going to make. I pray about it and I do it. Right. And so, I didn't call anybody that night. I went home and I just was like, okay, I listened to the song all the way home. And I'm like, okay, what are you going to do? I don't even know how the audition is going to go.
Right.
They just said, show up the next day, presentable, in all black. And so I went there with the other dolls who chose to audition. And so we're sitting there, and the director's like, okay, he calls us in, and he has us acting out a few scenes, and he has us dance. And so, of course, all of us did good because we're all dancers. Right. We're beautiful. So, I'm like, okay, Gabby, how's this going to go? And so I don't hear anything. Senior night comes.
Right.
I'm in the doll room, and I keep looking at my phone before we go out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I still haven't got a text message. Mr. Kai ain't told me nothing. Mr. Taylor hasn't told me nothing. They didn't pick me. And so I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. And so after senior night, I was feeling really good. We had just performed.
Right.
And so I come back in the doll room, and I get the text message. And it doesn't say that I have the part. They just said, we need you up here. I need your shoe size. I need this. I need that. kind of like it is in, you know, the
The
real,
yeah, regular.
the Hollywood, and how they do, you know, they just get right to it.
Right.
We need you here at this time with this wardrobe. We need this, and that. So I'm like, okay, I still don't know my part. I'm just like, okay, maybe they told all the dolls that. So I get home and I come back the next day that they told me to. And so I go to wardrobe, and then the director meets me there, and he takes us into the band hall, and he's like, so you'll be so and so. And I think the main character's name was Sherry. And so he's like, you're Sherry. And so I knew that she was the main role, so you know, I had to act professional. So I was like, okay, I got that, you know, no problem.
Right.
Got to my car, I'm like screaming, I'm crying. I'm like, oh my gosh, like they really picked me. Like it was the best moment ever, because it was so much anticipation.
Right.
And finally finding that out, you know, it was like God was giving me just a little taste of what I really want to do in life.
Right.
And so it was just such a blessing to be able to be a part of that and make some good connections with that as well.
Right. So, you know, after senior night, me being a fan, I always look at comments. After senior night, everybody was going up for you, okay? Everybody was going up. So how did it feel when you actually see fans who wasn't really supportive of you, your 2018, actually try to support you now, being that, you know, you did so good senior night? Like, it's a lot of people. Personally, I don't like it, because it's just like, you should have been supporting her the first time. Now you want to support her because she did good, you know, during senior night.
Honestly, it feels nice to know, because I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Always try, and keyword I said try, because I do fall short. And you know, I did have that mindset before. It was like, oh, don't try to.
Right.
But I had to realize that sometimes people don't have the vision like everybody else. People won't see it, you know, and when they do see it, it's a beautiful thing to me, because okay, you know, now you're understanding.
Right.
You know, even though I showed who I was from the beginning, but it just shows too that I take it as a good thing, because it shows growth.
Right.
Because before you didn't like me, and now you do. You know, and even though I don't do things for fans and for people, at the end of the day, a lot of the fans and a lot of the people that commented and came around and did videos supported me.
Right.
And at the same time, it's just like celebrities, they support you in those different ways, and you have to appreciate that. Right. Because honestly, those people that loved me, you know, pushed me out to everybody else to see.
Right.
And that helps me. And so I truly appreciate even the people that didn't like me before, they like me now, because at the end of the day, you know, they're just helping me.
Right.
All those people that find out who I really am, you know, so I get excited about that. You know, I don't try to pay attention to the fact that they didn't like me before and now they like me. I pay attention to more so, okay, now you do. So now you're able to let somebody else know, oh, this girl's amazing.
Right.
And that's how you get yourself, you know, really going, because people are slowly feeling who you are.
Exactly. So what will you miss most about being a dancing doll?
I would miss the experience of just having that adrenaline that you feel before you're about to march in is just like, you can't explain it. Like, your heart is just racing and you feel like you don't even want to do it. You feel like you don't even want to go out. And then that moment you start strutting, it's just like, oh, I'm going to give it to him,
right.
You know? And that's just that moment, because you hear people screaming your name, and it's just like, okay, I got this. You know, that's what I'm gonna miss the most. The adrenaline that I have for a game, a performance, anything that had to do with just the hype of dolls, I'm gonna definitely miss that.
That's good. So, what advice can you give to a new doll coming in?
My advice I would give to a new doll, first and foremost, is to keep God first. Because when you don't have him, everything will fail.
Right.
Even if you have him halfway, it's still going to fail because you have to choose: am I going to have you or am I not?
Right.
You know, don't be lukewarm. Gotta be hot or cold. They say that, you know. So choose to have him, because when you do that, your season will go well, and that's something that I can promise.
Right.
And the next thing I would say, of course, is to remain humble always, because at the end of the day, you know, you just never know how your situation is going to work out.
Right.
And so when you are faced with times like that, you have to be humble, because you don't want anything to catch you by surprise, and you don't want to seem like you're ungrateful or anything like that. So remain humble, and to also know that you are always being watched. You have to carry yourself in the way that you see yourself, and you have to see yourself in an aspect, in a light that is refreshing and beautiful. Because one thing I can say is, going around to different places, I wouldn't expect people to know who I am.
Right.
And a lot of the blessings that I've gotten have come from people seeing who I became from 16 to 17 to 18 to 19, and that person that stayed steadfast, unmovable, faithful in who she was. And that's, people like that. And they're always watching you. You don't know when a camera is on. You don't know who is around. You know, even like if you in the store or in the stands, you know, just watch. Be mindful of how you are,
right.
who you are, what you do, your facial expressions. People see that. And you know, as time went on, you notice people watch the dolls even more, and more people are supporting the dolls. More people are looking at the dolls, and you can't blame people for being tedious and pointing out every little thing they see in a video, or every little thing they see about a doll, period. So you have to be mindful of how you carry yourself at all times, because that is the moment where it can make you or it can break
you. Yep. So
main things.
So let me ask you this: what other dance teams do you watch other than the dolls?
I watch. I'm gonna be honest. During my seasons, I didn't really watch other teams,
right?
Because I really was faithful to the dolls.
Right.
Like that was my thing. You know, nobody can touch the dolls. You know, that was my thing all the time. And so I started getting to a point where I did want to watch the other teams, just to, you know, see what they bring, and because everything evolves with time. And so, you know, it's good because you can learn from other people. Not saying you take what they do, but you can learn from them. And so around after my captain year, and then into 19 year, I started watching the Stingettes and the J-Sets. Of course, before what I saw on Instagram and stuff. As far as actually maybe sitting down watching a video of them, it started probably after my captain year into the 19 year. And I would watch the Stingettes, the J-Sets. Sometimes I don't really buck, but I'll watch them from time to time. And so those are pretty much the teams. But just having all of these teams, or all these HBCU teams around, and all of these talented girls, because I've seen what every last team can do. And, you know, being that, or the organization that people would say is the let's see what I would say, the standard.
Right.
You hold yourself to a certain position. And so it's like, it's not easy, because you have so many teams around that are really good. And so definitely giving credit to them, because you have to hold yourself up in those different standards that people give you, and to be able to keep it going. HBCUs are just knocking it out the park. So especially these dance lines, and I love where it has gone, because before, like I said, I didn't, hear much about the HBCUs back then, but now you hear it everywhere. They know in Florida, they know across across the United States about the Dancing Dolls. You have people sometimes when I look at the comments, oh, I'm here from Jamaica, and it's so amazing to see that. Like, wow, you really have an impact on so many people, and it goes back to watch what you do,
right?
Because we're all. That's not even just the dolls. That's girls that want to be on any team. That's for any team. Watch how you carry yourself, because people are watching for real, and we are all just mentors to these young girls, and they idolize us. They really do.
Yes.
And I remember doing the doll camp, and this one girl, she could not stay off of me. She just clinged to me. And I was okay with it because I have more so of a motherly type aspect to me anyways. So I was okay with it. But I said, girl, why do you keep grabbing onto me? Because, Gabby, I just love you. And it really warmed my heart, because it's just like, man, I really have an impact on this girl. She can't let me go. But it's a nice thing. I like that. And so I still have girls now that hit me up and they're like, Gabby, I just want to let you know that I've learned so much from you. And it makes you feel good, because it lets me know that throughout my time, even when I felt like I was at the bottom, I still was an inspiration to a lot of females. And that, it brings tears to my eyes, it warms my heart, and that's what makes me just want to keep going.
Yes. So what's next for Gabby?
Well, I picked up and I moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
To pursue an acting career. And what I can say is that from the moment I got here, God has opened a lot of doors for me and shown me a lot of blessings. So, you could turn on your TV tomorrow and see me, or you could, you just never know. So just stay tuned, because I'm back, and I've never left, but I'm better. Just keep getting better. And I keep getting better and better. And that's only because I have the one up above just guiding me and strong people around me. And so that's what you can expect. And that's what.
All right. Thank you so much, Gabby. I want to say, Gabby, I love you. Oh, my God. You did such an amazing job all 4 years. Thank you so much, okay?
Thank you, and I really want to thank all of you. The videos that you put up are just great. Your energy and all the fans. Yeah, I really just want to thank you all, because the ones that leave those messages and that are very heartfelt, if I don't see them, somebody's going to tell me about it, and it really makes my day. And you all are such a blessing, and I just wish all of you much success. You as well, Morgan, with your YouTube channel.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.